Yes, everyone, what's going on? My name is Stephen Howson, and this is Premier League Preview. Manchester United go to Bournemouth, to the Vitality Stadium, to try and beat a team that are 3 points above us and on the brink of getting into fourth place. Now, as the title of the video says, one thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about today, before we play Bournemouth, is Eddie Howe suitable for the Manchester United job? There's a lot of people have been writing articles about it. A lot of people have been saying that forget about Zidane, forget about Pochettino. Eddie Howe is the guy that should take over Manchester United. To be honest with you, I don't really have strong feelings against it either way, or strong feelings for it in either way. I think it's an option, not really advocating for it, and I'm not really against it. But I thought it's worth looking at some of the pros and the cons of the appointment with United playing against Bournemouth tomorrow, just to see if it's a feasible option for Manchester United. So, currently sitting 3 points ahead of us, and Bournemouth, if they beat us and results go their way elsewhere, can actually get into the top four this weekend. United, if we win, can go level with Bournemouth this weekend. So it's a big 6-pointer for us. Let's look at the pros. Appointing Eddie Howe, for me, would represent a bit of a change in tactic for United and our appointments under Jose Mourinho. Under Ed Woodward. With LVG and Mourinho, they was two of the biggest names that was available at the time of their appointments. Not a lot of intelligence needed in uncovering Jose Mourinho when he's available, is there? From a board point of view, he's available, you appoint him as manager. And there's little international star quality about Eddie Howe. But he is considered a coach in a way that perhaps Jose isn't. He's not a man that coaches, whereas Eddie Howe actually gets out there and he does that bit of a lost art of developing players himself. Something he's asked to do on the shoestring that he's had while he's at Bournemouth, where he's overseen 3 promotions and made them into a pretty decent Premier League outfit. This is a guy that took over them at first when they was in League 2 and facing relegation from the Football League entirely. So this is a serious fairy tale that's been at play here. And when we get into the cons, I think there's some valid points in the con side of it as well. Now, Eddie Howe likes 4-4-2. His centre-backs like to play football. He likes to get wide with the wide areas. He likes to use the full-backs and playmakers out wide. Nathan Ake looks brilliant underneath him. And I think he's a man for the long term. He's very young, although he's quite experienced at this level. He's currently the longest serving manager in the Premier League, which is astounding, isn't it? Just over 6 years. No mean feat. Now, I'm a romantic at heart, especially when it comes to football. And I'd much prefer United entered into a relationship with somebody like an Eddie Howe with the stated goal of, do you know what? Might take a couple of years of it sucking. It's already took 5 years of it sucking. Might take a couple of years of it sucking, but this is a relationship and this is a man that we want to be a long-term dynastic manager, a manager that's going to be here for 15, 20 years, yeah? I'd rather we entered into a relationship thinking that, even if the likelihood of it actually paying off is small, I would rather we entered into a relationship with a manager with that sort of long-term thinking, because you always hope for the best. And if you can plan for the best and hope for the best, then sometimes you can actually achieve the best. But if you're only appointing short-term managers, you're only going to become a short-term club. So I'd rather United started to believe and think in the long term. We still have the best academy in the country. Let's have somebody that might be able to utilise it. I get that all on the pro side of things. Now, the con side of things, no experience of a massive club at all. He's managed Burnley and he's managed Bournemouth. The expectation at Burnley and Bournemouth is not the same. I think that goes without saying. David Moyes on paper seemed like a good idea at the time. It's a man that had worked wonders on a shoestring. We haven't even got them into a Champions League place one year. Didn't work out. Now, I think it would be unfair to suggest that every manager going from a small side to an enormous side, it is going to be a failure. Even the best managers in the world have to start somewhere. But I think it's still a valid point that he hasn't had that experience and he hasn't had that pressure. Everyone kind of looks at Bournemouth and go, good on them. Yeah, well, they're doing it right. They don't really get the animosity and the hate that you would get as a Manchester United manager. I can't even remember a damn thing Eddie Howe's ever said in a press conference. Whereas we get, and we'll be bringing you, the notes of Jose Mourinho's every single word in a press conference gets analysed, repeated. It's front page news, it's back page news, it's all over Sky Sports. Can Eddie Howe live with that if he became Manchester United manager? The fact is we don't know. And there's no evidence to suggest that he can't do that. But unfortunately there's no evidence to suggest that he can do that either. Does he also have the force of personality required for this sort of job with the sort of players that Manchester United have? It's all right working with Nathan Ake, But when Paul Pogba decides he's throwing a strop, or Alexis Sanchez is throwing a strop, there's very particular constraints that happen at a club like United, and I've got to question whether he's able to do those. So, verdict-wise, I think every single appointment that we make, there's a huge gamble. But I think before appointing somebody like an Eddie Howe, United would have to get in a full interview process and find out if he's the man for the job. And I think before you even do that, it's that same old thing in it. You've got to get a director of football in there, someone that's going to be thinking about the longer term plan and structure of the club. And if you get that in place, then you can go down the route of properly assessing who's going to be the future manager and get the best out of it for this club. But I think he's in the mix. I think he's an option. So that's what I'll say. I think he's an option. I don't think he should be discounted because of what's happened so far in his career at Bournemouth. I think he should definitely be in the mix for it. But again, there's no guarantees of success in this game. So I can't say that he would absolutely come in and take United back to the top. Same old, same old. You've got to be backed. You've got to do everything else that's needed. So United come into the back of this game with a win against Everton, a bit of a footballing lesson against Juventus, and then an unfortunate last-minute draw, last-second draw against Chelsea. Bournemouth are going to be a tough ass. They're going to play football, and they're certainly not going to be fearful of us. Let's have a look at some of the manager's press conferences notes from this week then. So this is what Jose had to say today when he was talking to the press. He says, the mood is fine. Our last couple of weeks were positive. Let's say the second half against Newcastle, then the match against Chelsea, and then a match against Juventus was really hard. The team fought hard, so that was not a part of the result. The mood is positive. It's fine. I think he's trying to get the idea that it's a positive mood out there. Mourinho also said, when you're outside the top four, you shouldn't speak about the title race. I think that's absolutely fair to say. And when you're there, which I believe we're going to be, then you can look up. And he says we have to try and get the points we need to be in a better position by the end of December, where I expect us to be. So Jose's clearly going to be going there for picking up some points now. We're not that far away, even though it's proper sucked the last month or so. We are not that far away. A good couple of wins on the bounce, especially if we could manage to pick some up in the derby, as unlikely as that feels, then United could be thereabouts by the end of December. That's a good run of games that we could get ourselves in there going into the Christmas period, and we actually could find ourselves knocking on the door. Title challenge? Don't think so. I think top four should be where United goal orientation should be right now, going towards the end of the season, and a decent showing in the Champions League if that's possible, please. Right, let's have a look at my starting 11 for this week then. Knowing what we know, again, I think I would love to see Lukaku rested, but I think he had more rest than he's ever had, or he's ever going to get under Jose Mourinho by only missing out on the first hour against Everton. So I fully expect he'll be back in the starting 11. And I wouldn't want to see Marcus Rashford dropped either, because I thought his movement against Everton was everything. I thought all of the good that came from Manchester United was because Marcus was constantly running. I threw up a couple of clips on Twitter during the week, which got pulled for copyright, even though they was completely transformative and educational with all the different drawings that happened on them, but there you go. Illustrating some of the runs that Marcus was doing. Marcus's off-the-ball work at the moment is everything, and I think that Lukaku could probably actually learn a little bit of something from Marcus, because he's working for the team there. Lukaku at the moment, he just doesn't look like himself, and I think he needs a physical rest as much as he needs a mental rest, and I would want to see him tuck out the team for a couple of weeks to get that. I just don't think we're going to see that with him. I thought the Everton game was the perfect opportunity. Bench him and even tell him, you ain't coming on. So he's not got that mental thing that's going on. I wouldn't have even put him on the bench if it was possible, but I guess you can't have everything. Martial's going to play because he's scoring goals at the moment, and even though I don't think his all-round play has been 10 out of 10, you can't argue with his finishing. His finishing's been fantastic. So Martial is absolutely in the team, and I think he probably deserves the run of games that he's getting. I'm not sure he'll leave Alexis out. But I've gone for Juan Mata on the right-hand side, just because I think that he's playing in good form at the moment. I'd love to see Jose actually start rewarding some good form for a change, rather than just, here's who I've got to pick all the time. In midfield, I've gone with Fred and Pogba because I liked the energy that they brought against Everton. I think Fred was a real positive, and I think a game against a team like Bournemouth, where we're going to work hard and try and play football on the floor, this is what you want in there, is someone that can counteract that with pace and actually produce something in the final third. I wouldn't play Matic if it was up to me. I would put Ander Herrera in there, but we're going to see Nemanja Matic, so we might as well stick him in here. And same again with Ashley Young at right back. I wouldn't have put him in there by choice, but let's be honest, the doghouse that Tony Valencia's in, we're not going to be seeing him. The fitness of Delo still a little bit unknown, so it's probably going to be Ashley Young at right back. Left back Luke Shaw, playing in brilliant form at the moment. I think everyone's been delighted with how he's performed. Centre half partnership, I think it's starting to emerge as Jose's favourite partnership, and that's Smalling and Lindelof. I did a video about Lindelof yesterday, looking into how he's started to turn it around a little bit, or if he started to turn it around a little bit. My honest assessment of it is, I actually don't think he has completely turned it around. I think he's just played in a couple of games where the opposition really suited him. Luckily for him, he might make it 3 tomorrow, because the Bournemouth team should really suit his style of play as well. They're going to play it on the floor, they're going to play it into the channels, and I think that's where he excels. City might be another game that works for him, and Juventus midweek might be another game that works for him. So he could get 4 or 5 games on the bounce where he's putting some real good performances, and that confidence alone might help him out in some of the other games where he does look a bit shakier, coming up against that more traditional number 9 sort of bullying centre forward a little bit. That's my starting 11. What do you guys think? I'm going to come to the Patreon group in a second for some questions. I'm just going to see what some of you guys are saying. Paul says Lingard should be back, although I don't think he will start. Same. I thought that, to be honest. I thought there's no way Lingard's just going to go straight into it, but I think he likes what Lingard brings as someone who works hard off the ball for the team, especially in an away game. What about Sanchez up top? A lot of people are suggesting Sanchez at number 9. I don't think that's a Jose Mourinho style. I really don't. I think he likes to play with a real traditional number 9, whether that's someone like a Martial or a Rashford that can get in behind, or a Lukaku, the way he's using him, like a bit of an old school Drogba style. I just don't think he likes the false 9 sort of thing, and that's the only way I think you could play with Sanchez up front. Ollie says Leicester won the league playing 4-4-2 with Morgan, Huth, Simpson and Albrighton. You don't need perfect personnel. To be fair, that was peak Morgan. Huth was great for him that season, and Simpson and Albrighton was just absolute crossing machines that season. They got the best out of them that year. It can happen. Amandeep says Lukaku is not a United striker. He definitely is. He absolutely is. He's on like the website and everything. He says he's just a bigger Chicharito with less movement. Well, he's done all right for himself, hasn't he, considering that's all he is. I think people are being a little bit disrespectful at the moment. Bailly is our best defender, says Addy. True, but there's about as much chance of me and you playing, I think, as seeing Bailly get like consecutive games week in, week out for United. Can we see Rojo back? I don't know what's going on with Rojo at all. Aidesh says Bailly is our best defender, but has been our worst this season, but he should be given a chance to get back into the team. I don't think anyone's going to disagree with you on that one. Any player that you think could be a Roy Keane type of player in our academy? Roy Keane was a technically very good footballer, and he could attack, he could defend, but Roy Keane's mentality was what made him Roy Keane. The absolute sheer determination that he carried, the adherence to standards that he had was just unparalleled, and I don't think you're going to see that in somebody. You didn't see it in Roy Keane till his mid-20s, to be honest. You saw a fierce competitor when he was 22, 23, but it was only like from 97, 98 onwards where you really sort of saw that force of nature leader that had the authority to start telling people what was what around the pitch. I think it takes a long time to develop that. Ashish says Jardim is the best option. I think he's another one that is definitely an option, absolutely. Kante was instrumental in what Leicester did there. It was all of them, to be honest. It was from Vardy up front to the midfield. Even with what Danny Drinkwater was doing was very key to what they did. And it just worked for them that season. And they found a system that worked for them, and they played to it, and they shocked a lot of people. They got a lot of points early on where nobody expected them to, and then they managed to hold on when the pressure was on and win the league. Fair play to them. Herrera could do the Kante job in a 4-4-2. Herrera could do it. I'd love to see him do it. I'd love to see him in this 11, to be honest. I just don't think that's the case. Let's head over to the Patreon group and see what you guys are saying in the questions. There's no questions in here from the Patreon group. Oh, you've absolutely missed out there, haven't you? If you'd like to come and join the Patreon group, the link is in the description below. For less than £1 a week, you guys get extra vlogs. You've got a match day chat group, which is absolutely awesome. Nearly 300 Reds in there. There's 450 members of the Patreon group. There's a Facebook group. There's extra content coming out all the time. It's definitely worth a look. If you're interested in that kind of thing, check it out. Link is in the description. It's time for a bit of betting. So let's have a look what the crack is. Are we ready to go? Here we go. Hit the link in the description. Come and follow me on BetBull. The more people follow me, the more crazy prizes they're going to give away. We've given away about £500 or £600 so far this season, just to random people that are following me. We're not doing that this week, but we have been doing it pretty regular. So the more people that follow me, the more targets that I hit, the more things that they can give away. And I think we'll be talking match tickets and all sorts of stuff coming soon. So come and follow me. It's a free app. Follow me on there, Mr. Stephen Howson, and you can see all the bets that I'm putting on and how terrible I am at betting. So let's get into what we're going to do this week. Now, I am possibly one of the world's betters, but I turn up and I'm having a go every week. So I also don't go for I don't put a fiver on to win 7. I'll put a fiver on to win like £3,000. So that's what we're going to be doing again this weekend. We're going to try and predict the results of the entire Premier League. So let's do it. Let's go for a United win against Bournemouth. I don't really think it'll be. I think it's probably more likely to be a draw. So what? Let's do that. Let's do the draw. Oh, wrong one. Let's do a draw. West Ham against Burnley. I'm going to take a West Ham home win for that. Can Newcastle finally get a bleeding win under their belt? Because they've tripped me up every single week, man. Let's go with a draw. Cardiff against Leicester. You've got to take Leicester there. I'm going to take Everton at home to Brighton. Arsenal-Liverpool. This is a serious match that we've got in our hands this weekend, isn't it? I'm going to take Liverpool in that one. Tottenham and Wolves. That's another cracker of a game, isn't it? Do we take a draw there? City are beating Southampton all day because Southampton are terrible. And we'll take Chelsea there. That's 540 to 1. Let's stick a fiver on that. And that's £2,794. Let's bang that on. And the good thing about BetBull is you also get to spin the wheel, which means that you can get an odds boost. You can get ACCA insurance. You get all sorts of things. So let's see what we get this time around. Oh, nearly 10%, wasn't it? 5% odds boost. That's all right. That'll put it over £3,000, won't it? No. Just a bit less. 2,930 off a fiver. If all of those come in, the Milky Bars will be on me. If you'd like to see more about the bets that I'm sticking on, maybe even put it on yourself, link is in the description. Come and follow me on there, and honestly, we'll be giving away some more prizes next week on BetBull. Any more questions from you guys? Let's see what the crack is. Romelu's first touch says apparently Lukaku hasn't travelled. You can't always go off that because Jose likes to mess around with the knobheads at the MEN. So that doesn't mean everything, but I guess they've flown this time, so you would have thought they're going to get everyone on there. It's not like they can get a later train, is it, or anything? Adesh says, do we need a ball-playing defensive midfielder, seeing our best possession is Mata and we need a right winger? I think we need someone that can offer balance on that right-hand side, but that could be Marcus, that could be Jesse. I don't think it's one Mata because he definitely drifts inside far too much. I think we've got a ball-playing centre mid. You could play Pereira there. Ollie says, if Gomez, Chong, Greenwood leave, could they do a Sancho? Absolutely. By all accounts, it looks like Bundesliga clubs are going to be starting to send loads of scouts over to come and watch under-18s football in England. And I don't blame them, to be honest. There's a brilliant amount of talent at under-18s level, and it's just about getting them first-team games. The best thing that could happen is a couple more English players get poached and go and smash it in Germany, and then some of these Premier League teams might go, oh, actually, maybe we should start looking at our under-18s a little bit more. Chiesa on the right, in my opinion. Yeah, Cheddar, I do like Chiesa, absolutely. And there was an article today, actually, I think it was in the Express, linking United with Chiesa. You're like, oh. Everything comes back to a director of football, says GMCG. We get that right, and it should all go well. We've got some Patreon questions coming through. Stu says, has Abdul got a ball yet? I think he's talking about his hairdo. Not yet. Clayton says, opinion on how Giggs is doing with Wales. I think he's doing all right. It's hard to tell, isn't it, with one of these nations. They're beating the teams they should be and not beating the teams that they're not expected to. So unless he starts beating teams he's not expected to, playing a load of players no one's ever heard of and really going deep in that sense, then I don't know how you really rank what he's doing. International football's weird, isn't it? Audition says, if you were in Jose's position and the board gave you funds to spend on a defender in the next summer window, who would I buy? I like Alderweireld. I know it's not a very imaginative one. I liked Howiedes before he went over to Italy, but he's not really tore it up since he's gone there, so I don't know. I'd have to have a proper look into what we've got. Could we look at maybe even promoting Axel? Is he ready yet? Those are the sort of things that you don't know until you can put him in first team training and actually see it. And honestly, I don't get to watch first team training, so I don't know those things. Ollie Payne says, what happens if we lose comfortably to City? I think he's probably keeping his job now. If you'd have asked me 2-3 weeks ago, was Jose going to be United manager on the 12th of November? I'd have not a prayer is he getting through this. But now I think he's going to keep his job. So I think he'll probably keep it. I think he'll probably keep it till summer. James says, will Jose ever play Mata through the middle instead of keeping him on the right? Well, they played him through the middle against Chelsea. So, yeah. Barbie Sean, if Timbo got recalled from loan, would you rather him play him or Delo at right back? I'd like to see him played in midfield. I think he could play right back and he could probably get a career at right back, but really, he's a ratter. He's someone that likes to get after it and cause havoc in that number 6 position. I think there's areas to his game he could improve if he was going to play there regularly, but I think he's pretty effective in there. Liam says, Rashford up top, please. Omar says, Jose's talking like he's going to be there at the end of the season. Do you think he'll ride out the storm and we won't see a manager change? And is that good news? It's the same as anything, man. You've got to you've got to back whoever's in charge. Woodward can't have anything to do with the recruitment process apart from signing the cheque. So, authorising a bank transfer, I guess, is more realistic. It doesn't matter who it is. If they're not backed, they're not going to be a success. Babe says, I'd like to see Sanchez up front with us for a few games. Him and Matt linked up really well in pre-season, and he was a demon for Arsenal. But he's still done it. He has played up front for Arsenal, I guess, but they play a totally different style of football to us. And that's one of the reasons it's not working for him no matter where he is on the pitch for us at United. It's a bit more rigid. And I don't know if he was played in the number 9 position, if any of that would change. If Jose comes top 3, should he stay then? Probably, yeah. I don't think there's a black or white answer to any of this. Like, if he does that, should he stay? If he wins the European Cup, but like punches Ed Woodward, should he stay? He's probably not going to keep his job after that, is he? Like, you can't. There's a million different factors into why someone might keep the job or might not. Was it Timbo that injured De Bruyne? Yeah, I think it was. Do I think Greenwood can make it soon? I think he can definitely make it. I don't know if he need a loan. He needs to be challenged because he looks easy for him at under 18s. He made his debut last week in the 23s. That looked easy for him. It looks easy for him at international level where he plays a year up. Like, he's an unreal talent. Like, if you look at the numbers that Sancho did at this level, at under 18s and at under 23s, Greenwood's absolutely pisses on it. Greenwood's doing more than a goal a game, way more than a goal a game. He's like a goal and a half every single game. It's ridiculous. Sancho wasn't even close to a goal a game. So yeah, there's a massive amount of pressure on him, but I think he's good enough, and I think he could probably do it straight away, to be honest, given the right team and the right opportunity. Right then, I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you guys for coming and joining us. We'll be live tomorrow about 3:30 or so after the match, 3 o'clock-ish maybe. So come and join us for United Review, and I will see you in the next one. Laters. Welcome to the Stephen Howson Football Channel. This is where I will take you through everything that I do revolving around football, be it that at Old Trafford or elsewhere. This is where you will get your match previews, your reviews, your football vlogs, your scout reports, your transfer talk, your youth reviews, your documentaries, and anything and everything revolving around football. I absolutely love this game. Do me a favour and subscribe. Thank you.